good for weight loss, but yes, it helps with weight loss. A balanced diet is the key, which means that you want to get a little bit of everything. But having said that, a little bit of everything means you want your vegetables, you want your fruits, you want good amounts of protein. If you're a vegetarian, that means, you know, getting your protein sources from dals and things like that. If you're non-vegetarian, then getting lean meat. So I'm not a nutritionist. This is based on my experience and just years of experiments and working with having good nutritionists help me as well. Lean meats. I would say certain things that you do need to avoid, of course, if you're looking at trying to lose weight. And those are all your white products. So basically, salt, you got to be careful about how much. Sugar, of course, it's obvious. Things like dairy, I don't think are necessarily wonderful. These are my personal opinions. Maybe some people think they're wonderful, but I personally find that when I have less dairy, my body feels better, feels lighter, and there's definitely less space for just bloating and things like that. The other thing is white rice, white breads, white carbs. So if you can switch from the white to multigrain or finding a source that suits your body, then look for that. But portion control is the second thing. So it's not just that, okay, you're eating all this healthy stuff and you're just staying away from the bad stuff, but it's also trying to figure out how much you actually need. So trying to figure out, like, for example, if just, you know, 1 katori of dal, 1 katori of your sabzi, and 2 rye flour pulkas is enough for your lunch, and then stopping at that. So not necessarily having a huge bowl in front of you where you don't realize and you're kind of eating more than you need to. That. And eating at regular intervals. So not keeping too much of a gap between 2 meals. This has helped me a lot. I find that if you wait for hours on end, you end up so hungry. And they say that you actually shouldn't eat when you're hungry. You should eat before you get hungry, because then you eat the right amount, not too much.
So what's the gap that you personally leave between small meals?
I think 4 hours tops, maybe even less. Yeah, otherwise 2 to 3 hours.
Snack, dinner. Like that.
Yeah, at least something, whether it's like a portion of fruit, whether it's a glass of some, you know, something like a cold coffee, I don't know, anything, but something that keeps your metabolism going as well, because that keeps lighting your digestive fire. And if you just starve the body for so long, then there's nothing that's fueling anything. So, but again, you have to kind of see what works for your body, and also based on your lifestyle. So if, for example, you're not living a very active lifestyle, you may not need to eat so frequently, because you may not even need the food or feel the hunger. So my lifestyle is more active. Therefore, I end up eating a little bit more frequently because I need to eat that.
You're working out. So yes, definitely.
Yeah. So lots of things kind of come into play.
So I'm also curious to know about your dairy intake. So you're saying you don't take in any dairy at all, or what? If you do, then what kind of dairy?
I've eaten dairy all my life, but I want to say that in the last probably 6 to 9 months, I've sort of stopped my consumption of dairy. I switched. Like once in a while, I'll have like a feta salad, which has feta in it, you know. But typically, milk I don't have anymore. I've switched to almond milk, which I find now I'm so used to it. I actually prefer it. If I taste real milk, I don't like the taste. Paneer I stopped really because I once in a while I'll have my tofu, so I kind of have, you know, it's not a hard and fast rule that I won't, like if I go somewhere and there's only paneer, I won't eat it. I will, but I try to avoid it generally. Yeah. And I found that it has made a big difference in terms of just how I feel and how my body responds. Like bloating, I think, is definitely related to dairy, and also just generally your stomach always reacts when you have dairy. Yeah. So for a while.
So I mean, I also have only almond milk, but I do have dahi and I do have paneer, and so that's why I was curious to know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, see how you feel if you don't have it for a week or two and see, you know, like I noticed when I took it out.
Yeah, I had given it up. And I mean, yeah, you're right. I did feel that, but then I also like it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So at the end of the day, if you enjoy it, then why not? Like I wasn't personally ever a big fan of paneer, for example. So to me, it really makes no difference in my life if I don't have it. Milk was actually harder for me because I really enjoyed my milk until I stopped it. And then now, luckily, I don't miss it anymore. Sometimes I crave the dahi. So that is something. And when I do, I have a little bit. So like I'll have a nice tzatziki, or I'll have something, it's a special kind of treat, and I'll enjoy myself. I won't, because I'm not having a gallon of it. It's a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So dahi bhalla. I mean, I can't resist that. Sorry. Okay, so getting back. Now, okay, we're going to be taking audience questions if there are any. So please put them in. But before I take audience questions, I have one last thing to ask you, which is slightly off topic. So obviously a lot is being said about traditional yoga practices preventing the onset of coronavirus. Does it help? If so, what should we be doing to boost our immunity? And again, I'll play the pictures that you sent me. You can talk about them, but would you like to just talk a little bit before I put the picture?
So again, it's like, you Google anything in terms of benefits of yoga, and one of the first 3 benefits that will pop up is immunity. So there's the practice in itself helps to boost your immunity. Just the scientific thought behind creating these movements has been made in that way. So I would say 100%, whether against corona or any other virus, when you practice regular yoga, and I can say this, you will feel ill much less. And I know it sounds like a big claim, but I mean, I'm proof of it. It's something that keeps everything going. And because it works, think about it, it works on your lymphatic system, it works on your digestive system, it works on your mental system, because it helps with anxiety and relaxation. So it is really targeting everything together at one time. And that in itself will help boost immunity, because if you've got all that good stuff going on, it can't not. Having said that, yes, I can think of a few postures, but there's so many. So I'll give you like 4 or 5 that are linked with reducing immunity. This is one, wide leg seat, forward bend. It's also, again, fantastic for relaxation. So all forward bends are really good to relax, and it also helps your hips, it helps your legs, it helps your arms, it helps everything. Great movement, easy to practice as well. It's not so difficult. This is fish pose. So this is typically a pose that you do after you do your sarvangasana, your inversions, but you can practice it on its own again. This is the more advanced version where my legs are in that Padmasana position, but you can straighten the legs out and just practice it with the legs straightened out. That's the more restorative version of it. Great posture. It's a heart opener, releases any stiffness in your neck, and just feels good. So fish pose is the second one for immunity. What else are we looking at? Bridge pose. Again, it's an amazing, I'm sorry, I keep saying everything is amazing, but it really is a great pose to practice to stabilize your spine. So beyond immunity, the reason why I incorporate this pose in every class of mine is because for those people who do a lot of other workouts, HIIT workouts, kickboxing, all this crazy stuff, you need to work on spinal strength. This thing sets you, it just sorts out your back. So you will not have back issues if you keep practicing this after every class and after all your other workouts as well. So this is a great posture. Yeah, it's a bridge pose, and it's easy. Everyone can do it. Child's pose, everyone's favorite. So immunity as well. So that gives you another reason to practice child's pose. Stretches out the hips, releases stiffness in the hips, releases your shoulder blades, stretches out your arms. Feels good. This is why children do it. It's a great pose. Yeah. And I think we have one more. Yeah, cobra pose. A little more challenging in the sense that it is a back bend, and you need to kind of press down with your arms, so it involves different muscles, and it's not necessarily a natural movement, but great for, again, because it works on compressing your lower back, it really works on your spine, and that's where they say all that spinal fluid is held, right? So when you do movements that work on that juice and just invigorating all those parts, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but that's, I think, where the key to immunity building is. It's about that.
And what about the other practices like Anulom Vilom and Jal Niti, and what do you think of all of that?
So I don't teach these practices typically in my sessions now, especially because it's virtual and I find it difficult to do it like that. But Anulom Vilom is alternate nostril breathing. It's a very balancing practice. It's lovely to just reset your body and to create that sense of sattvicness, that sense of neutrality. So yin and yang, basically. Heat and cold. You want to bring yourself into a state of peace where you're not going to get upset, but at the same time you're not so sluggish, and that's the whole concept of Anulom Vilom. It's balancing that. If somebody knows how to teach it well, wonderful to do it every day. You can do it, and it's one of those things where you don't have to pick at a particular time. You can do it anytime. It's always restorative. It always helps you feel better. Jalniti is a great way to clear your sinus and your nasal passages. So right now, if people know how to do it, they should do it regularly, because again, it's just a great way to clean the sinuses. So practice that you can do if you need, or when only when you need. You don't have to do it every day necessarily. Some people do like doing that. That's one. Did you ask me any others? I think these were the two you mentioned.
No, yeah, these were the only two. But basically, they do also help in. I mean, I don't know about building.
Yeah, see, these are called kriyas. They're actually meant to be the cleanses. Yeah. So they cleanse the body of something.
So are there other cleanses like this?
There are a whole bunch of them. There are lots of there's next time we can have a conversation about those. So actually, those are again very advanced. So I don't even practice them, neither do I teach them. But you can look up probably a good book on yoga, and it'll go through a whole series of different kinds of cleanses that you can do.
And they're great
there's with oil. There are all kinds of different ones.
They're great for warding off illnesses and stuff.
Yeah, but again, I think a lot of these are for people who maybe also live a very specific kind of lifestyle. So a lot of these, you need to be being extremely clean clean meaning toxic free. So our lifestyle, people do imbibe in different kinds of things. So I'm not exactly sure whether they're meant for the everyday person, where these are. So your Anulom Vilom Jalneti, yes. But the more advanced ones, I'm not sure whether it's supposed to just be for your regular people, or more for the more.
So, and I'm glad, at least this is something that we can just start doing at home, obviously under guidance, as you're saying. But it's good to know, that we can just be healthier at home.
Yeah.
So thank you. I don't think there are any questions. I've been going through. There's some nice comments, but hello everybody. Any questions? Please send them in the next couple of minutes, because we'll wrap up. Otherwise, it's also 5:45, a lot longer.
Yeah.
But it's nice. I'm glad we did the pictures, because it really adds value when people can see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and of course,
I'm glad as well. It makes a big difference, because to explain something like this without either doing it or having a picture up is very difficult for people to understand.
Yeah, and it just makes it more interactive. And just to tell everybody who's here, if you missed part of the conversation or whatever, if you want to share it with someone, I will be saving it as an IGTV video on my profile, on my feed, and you can share it directly from there. And I'm sure Diya will share it at least on her stories as well, so you can check it out. Do go and follow Kriya by Diya. She keeps putting up, she also takes live sessions, and she keeps putting up really interesting posts about yoga. So highly recommend that you follow her. And of course, next Tuesday, I will be her student for another Insta Live, where we haven't really decided, but maybe we can do the weight loss postures, So yoga for weight loss in practice.
Yeah.
So
we can do those, and then maybe we can do one round just of a Surya Namaskar to show you how you can kind of thread those postures together to create a flow. Because then that gives people the understanding of how something that just looks like a standard holding can turn into a much more movement-based session. Because I think the key is that when people look at weight loss and yoga, they think that you can't sweat. And what I want people to understand is that you can. But of course, I think having said that, the most important thing is that it has to be everything. It has to be your movements, it has to be what you eat, and then of course it has to be things like your lifestyle, like how much sleep you get. Because I know sleep is basically, again, it's a big part of helping lose weight. If you get enough sleep, your body is ready to then be primed to do all of these things, eat well, do that. So it's all connected, Noor. As you know, I wish there was just one magic thing where you just do this and you lose weight, but you have to do everything together. And the most important thing is you have to have patience, because if you push too hard, too fast, you just get hurt. And then you're back at beyond square one at the starting position. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So do join us on Tuesday at 5 p.m. over on Diya's page. And of course, I will again remind you before that. So thank you, Diya, for joining us today. And
thank you for having me, Noor.
I mean, it was actually really nice, because a lot of the questions that were coming to me, I hadn't thought of them earlier. So I really, I'm glad that you shared so much information with us. And of course, the lovely pictures, so we could see what you were talking about. So thank you everybody for tuning in to my episode for this week And keep in mind that the entire month of August, I will be talking about weight loss at home, and I will be calling different guests. So stay tuned for that. And see you again very soon with something useful with Noor. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Noor. Take care. Bye.